And Jews do not believe Lucifer is God. They are the synagogue of Satan. There is a difference. And it's not a Zionist conspiracy. What do I think is wrong with Star Wars? About everything. One is that everybody that signs a contract on Star Wars is an initiated witch and had to prove what brotherhood they belonged to before they could star. I was like, oh, really? Yes. Now this is fact from talking with the people who produced the show. Second, the guy who played Luke Skywalker on the show, some of you from having the television bug, may realize that he starred in the premiere of 8 is Enough. They had him to a contract, and he wanted out of it because it became a series. And he said, I want out of it, and they said no. And they said, well, we're going to do a follow-up of Star Wars called Star Trails, which is so. And I want out of it, and you better let me out of it if you know what's good for you. And they said no, and they said, well, I'll just finish your show. I'll cast a spell and kill one of the leading stars, which he did. They let him out of the contract because he turned to the producer and says, you're next. The real reason for Star Wars is that 5 of the major doctrines of witchcraft are taught all the way through the movie, and that the statistics coming in now are over 1 million people have joined witchcraft because of the movie, since it's now. Now, I talked with the man who handled all the publicity for the movie. He verified everything I'm saying. He also said that, I said, well, I guess about 75%, and I still believe that, 75% of the movie was witchcraft. He said, no, only about 45. I said, well, what about Star Trails? He said, oh, that's 95%. I said, well, what about making everybody in witchcraft in it? He says, oh, they are. Everybody in it has to be. I said, well, who's going to be the new star? And he said, oh, the guy, and you probably won't know his name, so I'll tell you who he plays, all you women that like soap operas. He plays Snapper on Young and Restless. Now, that's not unusual, since the 3 major soap operas, you must be a witch before you star in them. Young and Restless was the last to go. That's why there was a big changeover in Young and Restless staff recently. The other 2 are All My Children and Secret Storm. So if you parents think that your kids are the ones that get it all because of the rock music, is Larry Flynn a witch? No, he's a charismatic. He says he talks in tongues regular to Peter and Paul, and they come and visit him in person and have dinner with him. Oh, well, Ruth Gardner Stapleton told him that that's the way it was supposed to be. Is a 6-pointed star with... Is it engagement ring? My engagement ring is a 6-pointed star. Would that have spirits attached, or is it just silly? Not silly. Could you go and have your fiancé exchange it for another one? Huh? Well, I'll put it to you this way. There was an extremely high woman in the Eastern Star in Atlanta, Georgia, last Sunday night, and she brought her Eastern Star up and asked me what the 5-pointed star with 2 points up was, and I told her, gave her all the facts on it. The ring had about 8 diamonds in them. 2 of them were over a carat. She took it home and threw it in the fireplace. I mean, you do what you want. My wife said, pull the diamonds out first. No, actually, she said, pull the diamonds out first and you know, give them to the Lord or something like that. But she did. She got rid of the ring. Where does faith in the promises of God apply in the end? Well, let me tell you something. I talk a lot about the end times, and I'm sorry that people get afraid when I talk about the end times. But then if Jesus was Lord in everybody's life, there wouldn't be any fear. I'm not afraid of the end times. You know, the Christians that went to a thing went rejoicing. You see, back then, you only had a sword, and when they sent a legion, which was 100 soldiers after you, one sword wasn't going to stop 100 with a sword. But today, one rifle could stop 100 with a rifle. This is something you have to decide. I mean, if you dig martyrism, you know, go on ahead. But the thing about faith in the promises of God is that I have faith that God is going to let me know when it's going to happen and is going to let me be prepared for it. Now, you can imagine how many Christians, there were 20 million Christians died in communist countries when the communists took over and drew it away. And they were warned, and they listened to other ministers, just like the people in Jerusalem listened when Jeremiah tried to warn Jerusalem that it was going to fall. Just like people listened to other people when Noah tried to warn people that it was going to rain. We're going to have a lot of people that's going to be like the people in Noah. They're going to be looking up like this, and then when the rain starts hitting them on the head, they'll get the message. When the bullets start coming through the door, when you can't go to the grocery store, and your electricity is turned off, and it's 50 degrees outside, and you're freezing to death, you'll say, I wonder if I can make it to the retreat. Well, you won't be able to then. All I can tell you is that I believe firmly in the promises of God, and therefore I believe that I am going to see the end times. I believe that I am going to come through it. But if I came to your door, and I said your house was on fire, and you said, my house is fireproof, and went back up and laid down, and you burned up, it's not my fault. I'm trying to tell you the house is on fire. It's up to you whether you get out of it or not. Okay? I firmly believe in the promises of God, and that's why I believe I'm going to make it. And I believe that God has given much of us ministers a little insight on the end times. You know, I could be a very big minister in this country, have a lot of people back me that I don't want to back me. All I have to do is close my mouth about three things: the charismatic movement, the Masons, and what's going to happen to Christians in the last days. I can't do it. I can't let the two groups go untouched and let the people in them not hear the truth. I can, in all honesty, go up to my retreat, close its doors, and sit there eating food. And now, see, retreats aren't to stay and hide it. They're to go, put your family in, and go back out and minister and have a safe place to go to. I don't plan on hiding in those days. I may have to carry a Bible and a gun at the... Come think of it, I do that anyway. But I plan on fully to keep on ministry. That's why most of the retreats have printing presses in them. But I can tell you this, that I will survive through the thing, and I will not sit up there in a retreat feeling guilty over anybody else out there, because I'm going to make sure that every place I'm at, they know about it, or I won't go there. Do you feel J.R. Tolkien, the author of The Hobbit and other series, wrote any of his books on the basis of witchcraft? Many of the themes in the books are those used to... This person couldn't have been here last night. Every book written by J.R.R. Tolkien, including the Silmarillion, just finished by Christopher, and you'll find Christopher's name on those handouts, was not written by him. Until Tolkien wrote these things used in witchcraft, as you put it, were secrets to witchcraft. And Tolkien was a member, along with another gentleman I'm going to mention in a minute. Both were supposed confessed born-again Christians, but both were members of the Golden Dawn. That's the Rothschilds' private church in London. It's the oldest coven in the world. And he gained permission both from the council and the Rothschilds personally to take things from the Book of Shadows, the Witchcraft Bible, and print them in books. You may think that The Hobbit and the books of the trilogy, like The Lord of the Rings and Two Towers and so on, and the Silmarillion are fairy tales. But they're the gospel to witches. According to witches, those things really did take place. If you've got them in your home, you wouldn't own a Satanist Bible. At least I hope you wouldn't. Pray for you if you would. And you wouldn't own a Witchcraft Bible. Why would you own part of the Witchcraft Bible? Now, you can go, don't do this, but you could go to the occult stores and you could pick up many books that came out after The Hobbit came out that bear the alphabet of witchcraft, the runes. But The Hobbit released them first, and they were secret upon the penalty of death till then, and nobody could have written them that had not been in witchcraft. Now, there's a Christian author whose books are sold in every Christian bookstore. That's why I don't like Christian bookstores. Who claims that Tolkien went into the Lord. He forgot to say what Lord. And his books are required reading before you can join a coven. Required studying. His name is C.S. Lewis. You pray about it. But they should go in the fireplace right along. And I'm going to quote from one of Lewis's books. The pathway to God is like a hall with many doors. They all lead to God. Not on your life. Jesus says that anybody comes other than through him is a thief and a robber. Should a Christian in any capacity physically prepare for... Should a Christian in any capacity physically prepare for the